Hello, today is the 18th of May, Monday, market is closed, so let's take a look at what's happening and maybe figure something out. So, Bitcoin is sort of being pressured from both sides. And on the upper side, we see the descending 200 day moving average, and from the bottom, it's being pressured by upwards trending 50-day moving average. And it's still very choppy intraday. So even with this little directional move here, it was always absolutely the same. Intraday, buy weakness, sell strength. And basically, it's Bitcoin being the most sensitive asset in the world, the most representative asset of the sentiment of the markets overall, just shows us what's happening there in the majority of other things that move, so to speak. So, will I trade this? Don't know. Maybe once again, could buy weakness here of the 50-day moving average or something like that, but you have to stay glued to the screen to do that. But that is actually you could do that. It's actionable. Once again, I remind myself that learning trend following is good. It pays you great money when you get the situation right, you get proper allocation in a proper market conditions. But at the same time, trending markets are very rare, and most of the time, in the rest of things, it's mean reversion. And to trade mean reversion, you have to become comfortable with buying weakness and selling strength. And that's my, so to speak, graduation work now. First, being able to distinguish between market regimes, and second, being able to execute on that. So that's my goal for this year. Mission critical, actually. I've spent a while in the markets, and in this business, you continue learning like till it's lights out. But at the same time, I think that this is probably the most important milestone for me. So, market regime and execution based on identifying the market regime. Apart from total chop, and obviously two names stand out. And the first one is Hyperliquid. And unfortunately, market conditions play their role and make themselves visible here too, because this breakout that's happening now, good volume, excellent volume, but still no volatility contraction. Actually, once again, it looked like it's about to break down, and all of a sudden, a total reverse, and followed by a breakout to the upside. For me, it's just looks like it's being coiled, like it's being under pressure, and once the pressure is released, it's just going to explode to the upside. The most obvious financial innovation of today: on-chain exchange as a software, no KYC, and no bureaucracy, just pure trading and efficient trading. It's not that hyperliquid, though, if you trade something relatively new and exotic to the platform, but you kind of start to see the future. And in my opinion, this is one of the most important, if not the most important, use cases for blockchain. So this could be the real game changer. Obviously, blockchain is critically important these days with stable coin flows, but being able to bring entire exchange to blockchain and make it fast and make it efficient is a true breakthrough, in my opinion, and the market seems to confirm. Once again, the problem is that the regime is not favorable to clean breakouts. They will be messed up. So that's what's happening here now. And situations like this, once again, you should be comfortable buying weakness and selling strength. And good pattern for buying weakness is actually undercut and rally, where the price tags important lows and then just shoots to the upside. So that's how it could be traded. With that being said, and Zcash, obviously, I wanted to mention Zcash as well. And that means that privacy theme is intact too. So privacy coins are still there. And once again, another innovation, another response to the vulnerability of the blockchain. Many people were cheering when uh, decentralized finance started merging with the traditional finance world, and everybody was screaming adoption. But adoption also means more oversight, more control, more taxation, more punishment. And blockchain, with its total transparency, is extremely vulnerable to that pressure from the regulator. And closed blockchains that do not disclose all the information, maybe while simultaneously allowing for selective disclosure, as some of these new protocols do, these blockchains, in my opinion, I wouldn't say like the future. Ethereum, Solana, and obviously Bitcoin, they're going not going to disappear, but there is a very strong demand for privacy in this space, and they will play a significant role in the next cycle of decentralized finance development. What else? The world of stocks, it just stays as extended as it was extended. Actually, today I proposed some shorts of the most extended stocks out there, and one of them was Micron, and it could be shorted with the stops just above this structure. Percentage wise, it's big, but it makes sense in my opinion. The run was just too powerful, too euphoric, and also too fragmented, because at the same time the banks are being weak, and of course we are in the choppy environment, so the banks are trying to rebound here. But what's more useful for that proposed short is that semis are retreating here a bit. And let's take a look at AMD. Well, more or less the same, but nothing too ominous at this point. Micron was a way better short, especially if you take volume into consideration here. Nice volume for these sales. Volatility is sort of printing this rounding bottom here, and I think that the market will awaken to the fact that oil is still above $100, looks quite decent, and if this whole war situation persists, I think that shortages of fuel will become reality, and that could send market to another wave of correction. Because as I've said, we have like two components here. We have euphoric runs in semis, AI related stocks, AI supply chain stocks, weak banks, volatility finding support, and 10-year yield breaking out here. So this is another important observation, and it's being largely overlooked. Long-term concerns about American economy are becoming more pronounced, and they are being priced in right now. And TLT could be a nice short, actually. It breaks down through this well-established support here. So that could be a trade for the current situation. One of the few tradable things you could do today. And I think that's basically it. You cannot say much about this market. It's very fragmented, it's very volatile, it's very choppy. Directional moves are very rare. Even the best stocks that have produced these directional moves, and one of them is obviously MWH, full cycle solar. power plant company. Even it is retreating here. But there are some interesting situations potentially, and one of them is this military drone company that is called uh, AEVEX Corporation. The name is AVEX. Military drones. One of the few things that could be resistant to current market conditions. I think that fair to say that one of the problems, maybe it's getting less attention than it should, is that innovation in the States seems to be very concentrated these days. It's basically AI, and we are seeing early signs of future space economy there. And it's exciting. Space stocks are strong, and some of them even look viable today. But it seems like it's only AI and maybe space sometime in the future. Like when we take SpaceX out of the equation, I think the whole industry is still very. But will it be enough to sustain growth of the economy? And will it be enough to produce and not to suppress enough consumer behavior to support the economy? Because I've said it many times, and I'll say it again, AI is disrupting exactly the thing that's making American economy powerful: white collar worker consumer. So these guys are getting fired. They are getting progressively less hired, and as an outcome of that, they spend less money. So I think the economy will start. The market could be pricing some of that in with its current state of indecision and volatility. Oh, inflation came out hotter than it was expected during the previous week. There was a release on Tuesday, so that could also mean more cautious Federal Reserve that will not lower the rate as proactively as some suggested it will do so. A brief conversation today. My first consideration for this market is extreme caution. Not too many interesting ideas. Total chop traders market, and yeah, I think that's basically it. Take care.